hear me? Yes, brilliant. Okay, so we'll get started. So this is about rising yourself to a better place in yourself. We have a busy life, we work, we have a family, we're multitasking. And even if you are in a section in your life where you have, you're retired and things are less active, less busy, you have come through this lifetime of multitasking business. And what's happening with this is that we bring a lot of conditioning. Okay, we bring a lot of conditioning. The conditioning of suppressing emotions, the conditioning of holding back to not cause conflict or and not create chaos, not create discordance. And there's a lot of conditioning that we bring into our being as we navigate through these years of motherhood, business, profession, multitasking, work, family. But we also bring a lot of stuff from even before that, when we're very little, when we're learning in a family environment, when we're learning from just observing our parents. But we're not here to do any deep work. We're not here to do any of that. Okay. We're going to put everything from yesterday to childhood in a box. And that box is a beautiful box. Okay. It's going to be a beautiful box where you're going to put everything in there. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to go there. This is very superficial, but very helpful to help you regulate moments of stress. And we're going to, if you have pen and paper, I have mine here. Feel free to write a few things down. If you prefer to just make mental notes, it's fine. Or just listen. Some people just like to be busy, but listen to something and they can capture quite a lot of information. So what we're aiming to do here in this 2 days classes, so we have one today, the 19th, and one next week on a Thursday, the 26th. The 26th is going to be a little bit of a continuation of this. We can also use the 26th to answer a lot of your questions of what you have paid attention, become aware during the week, to understand how you can integrate the tools that I'm going to give you today for releasing stress, for minimizing stress, for reducing stress, for reducing those moments of that we come out of a balanced state. Okay. And what is a balanced state? A balanced state is a state that you're in right now. You're sitting, you're breathing, you're relaxed, you're listening, you're focused. This is a balanced state. But so the aim of this class is to bring awareness to understand how you notice when your body comes out of this balanced state. Use the week, and you can also use the workbook, which again is just a suggestion, to help you understand how to relate to it, how to pinpoint. Some people like to have labels and words to make it work for how we associate things. Some people can go more by feeling, how they feel in their bodies. And then once we can understand that, we then know when to use the tools to help you bring that regulation. Okay. So who have had a moment? Remember I said, let's put everything from yesterday into a box. Okay. We're not going into any deep stories. So today, who had, you can just raise your hand, a moment of stress that you've had a moment of stress? I had one half an hour before the call. Who had one? Brilliant. Okay. So I just want you to write down on your piece of paper. You don't have to share in front of everyone, but just write down a piece of paper. What was that moment of stress? Just in a simple sentence of words. So I'm going to write mine. And again, we very practical workshop today to help you bring the awareness, okay? So I'm writing as well. And you're all going to bring different perspectives. We're all going to come from different points of that stress. But whichever way we come, we're going to find the reason, okay? So forget about yesterday and back to childhood, just today. Okay, so you can write on the messages if you want, that moment of stress if you want, or just on your paper, okay? Now I want you to think about that moment of stress, and if you can close your eyes or just remember, or just go into your memory and go into that moment, and can you pick out where in your body have you felt that moment of stress? Did you feel on your back, on your tummy, on your head, on your chest, on your shoulder, through the legs? If you haven't felt in your body, don't worry about writing anything. Just write what comes to you. The first thing that comes to you is the one that I want you to trust, without questioning, without judging, without saying, really? Okay. The first thing. So what body part did you notice that stress? And if you didn't, it's okay. Okay. And when you went through that moment of stress, the way you dealt with it, I'm going to give you a few options. You can pick one that comes to you the first when I say it. Did you freeze? Did you respond it through over talking? Did you withdraw? Did you overperform? Did you become more irritable? Did you suppress what you were about to say at the moment of stress? Okay. And now the next question is, if you've gone back to the moment of stress, are you feeling now any sensations related to that moment of stress today? And what type of sensation? So I'll say a few words, and I want you to just pick the first one that hits you, that really comes to you. Did you feel constricted, tight, open? Did you feel rushed? Did you feel pain? Overwhelmed? Okay, so now you just have a little list of awareness. Those are your list of awareness. So for example, I'm going to use my example. Half an hour before, my son and I was arguing about this heating system, which I just mentioned, because I'm in the van, I'm not at home. And I set it to one way, and I was waiting for the response to understand what the setting meant with the temperature. And he wanted to show me something else, but he kept touching the button. And I said, listen, just tell me what it is, describe, but let's wait for this response and then we try yours. So we're not changing the setting too quickly and we don't know what's happening. And he just kept pressing, pressing, pressing. And I got irritable, very irritable. Okay. So then my first sensation was tightness in my chest, just felt tight. And then this feeling that I needed to speak firmer to be heard. And that was a moment of stress. Yeah, that was that moment of stress. And we're not going back in that box to find out why. We don't need to. We can just start from here. So that moment of stress is your awareness. Maybe you have to sit down today in the school and be guided back to the moment of stress to make this little list. Because at the moment it was just automatic, right? But as we are able to break it down, what happened in that moment of stress, in another moment in the future where you are more calm, relaxed, yeah, like now, where the mind is thinking more reasonable, the heart is more relaxed, the body is more relaxed, we're able to go back and we're able to then break it down. Even when I was thinking about the moment of stress, I was getting a little bit agitated in my heart. Like I can feel that constriction that I mentioned because I relived it a little bit. It just happened a half an hour ago. And then I needed to sit on 15 minutes to calm down to come in the call. So, yeah. So some people can relive that moment just by thinking about it. And some people might be able to think about that moment and not relive. And that's quite hard sometimes to be able to break it down and put it down on a paper like this, all this information, because that makes it more difficult for us to become aware the next time it happens. And what we're trying to do with this class, with this workshop, is very simple. I cannot go very deep. I cannot go into many branches of nervous system and therapeutic aspect of it because it's very short. It's an hour. Yeah. And I want you to think that we can make changes to our stress levels immediately after it happens or sometimes right before. It depends where we are. Some people will be able to pick up in the next week just slightly before you're ready to snap. Some people will snap and then realize they snapped, and that's a moment of awareness. Some people might realize as they are snapping right in the middle of it, and that's a moment of awareness. So it doesn't matter where your moment of awareness come. Can be before, can be during, and can be after. And the moment of stress still going to happen. You're still going to have the peak of that moment of stress. Yeah? You're still going to have. But at what point are you getting the awareness? It doesn't matter. The tools can be used at any point. Okay? And this is where I want you to relax and realize that we're not here to be so robotically alert for that moment of stress. We want the stress to happen. Every time the stress happens and we react the way we do, we're not judging, but we're learning from it. It's a learning curve. So we're not here to judge why we stress. This is in that box. We're not here to understand why we stressed. This is in that box. It will come, but this is not the aim for today. But we want to be able to understand it the next week. And the workbook can give you a little bit more guidance in the week for you if you want to use it, because it will help you understand, like, okay, I'm getting a moment of stress. And to be able to have the stress and actually say it to yourself, this is a moment of stress. This is mind-blowing shift in our consciousness, in our awareness, in our way of being. Yeah. And we don't go into it with judgment, criticism, self-judgment. We don't go into it that way. We go into it, this is a moment of stress. Let it happen, let it settle. And then when you have that moment that you settle down, we're going to use the tools that I'm going to talk about in the next 10, 15 minutes. Okay? Why did I ask you to wait until you settle to use the tools? Because you need to learn to use the tools in a moment of serenity, in a moment of calmness, for the nervous system to learn how to use the tools. Once you learn the tools, they're easy to use and you're able to bring the tool and use it straight away. You're then going to be able to use the tool while you're having the stress. So then the stress is minimized. So when you go through the stress, you're not going through a very intense level of stress. You go to a much lower level of stress. Yeah. And if you think of a wave, we're up here with stress coming down. Now we're just halfway with the stress and then coming down. So the levels are getting closer, the level of serenity and the level of stress. And that increases nervous system capacity. And when we have more serenity, nervous system capacity than stress, we can level out the field, and then we can start using the tools, perhaps even just before you're about to get triggered, and you don't get triggered. And then eventually you realize why you got triggered, you solve that, and then the triggers don't happen for a specific thing, yeah? Because we get triggers from many different things. If I'm going too fast, please raise your hand, let me know, okay? So the tools are here to help us increase the serenity, nervous system capacity, so the calmness, so that when we're going through the level of stress, if we have a bigger pool, a swimming pool of water with calm waters and a pool of stormy water, that water can calm the stormy water. But if that capacity is lower than that one, it goes the other way around. And that's what we're doing. So that's why I want you to start using your tools in the moments that you have calmed down, the body calmed down, you forgot about the stress, maybe late at night, maybe even the next day. And take a moment to reflect a little bit on that moment of stress and pick out these little items that I mentioned. Where do you feel the stress in your body? How did you respond to the stress? And what sensations you felt in your body? If you can stick with those three, those are really good to get started. So the tools that we're going to talk about, okay? When we have sensations in our body from the stress, turn the heating off because it's getting way too hot now. When we have the sensations in our body, they eventually think of sensations like the intensity of this heater here. It got really hot. I turn it off, and then it takes a while to come down. Okay. When it comes down, it doesn't mean it's gone. It just means that you turn the intensity off. But it's still there. Because if it wasn't there, it wouldn't be triggered again on the next point of stress. So the idea with the tools is to really get rid of these sensations, to shift the sensations through the body and out. One of the reasons we can get sick, pain in the tissue, pain in the muscles, pain in the joints, is because those levels of stress have been suppressed for so long that goes into the tissue and the tissue gets inflamed, irritated. Yeah, this has been proven. It's evidence, scientifically evidence. So emotional stress can then bring physical body pain or ailments, illnesses. Okay. So we want to shift. We want to mobilize this. We want to dissolve. Another word I like to use is alchemize. So before I left the house, I picked a few oracle cards, and I like them because they they bring good messages. And one of the cards that's been talking to me is this one: pull back to propel forward. And this is what I mean by pulling back to be able to propel forward. When you wait for that moment of calmness to come through, and you sit back and you reflect on that moment of stress, you don't have to do this to every moment of stress. Just pick one a month, let's say, and you break it down like we did. Yeah. The propelling forward, it comes from using the tools, because they're going to be increasing your nervous system capacity to be able to work with the capacity of stress. If we don't have that calmness capacity increased, this is going to take over every time. So the tools, let's go back to the tools. So the nervous system is very, very intriguing. And you probably already use quite a lot of tools. And I want you to sit and write down and think about, what do you do to calm yourself down? Just make a little list. What do you do to calm yourself down? Because you're already using some of those tools. And all I'm going to do is bring the awareness of how to use those tools more consciously. So some people do movement with their bodies, go for a walk. Some people will drink water or wine on a Friday night. That's the wine on a Friday night is a tool. Yeah, it's not one of the best tools, but it is a tool. That's us rewarding for a hard week. Yeah. What else? Writing, journaling, breathing, breathing technique, stretching. What else do you do? Can you write down on the messages? What do you do to ease your own stress? Even maybe if it's happening, the stress is happening right then or afterwards. However, you use just the breathing. Yeah. Right. Keep writing because I can see the little messages. Meditation, go into silence, retrieve into a place of no stimulus. Yeah. Some people do jumping, shake. So they shake their body and try to shake it off the stress, sometimes right after the stress. Talk to someone. How many people use that? Go talk to someone, send a message to someone. Yeah. To get it out of your head. So you're already doing a lot of these tools. Watch Netflix, yes. Get a series on because it gets your mind off it. You're already doing lots of tools. Any of the tools you're using is perfect because that's what you need at that moment. But how do you make that conscious? How do you make that, yeah, breathe deeply and tell yourself it's just a moment. Your body already knows, your mind already knows what you can use. Continue to use them, but you're going to make them more conscious. But also merge that with breathing. Nice, gentle breathing. Focus on your breath for longer, 2-3 minutes. Yeah. Helps calm the mind. Even if you're watching Netflix or you having that glass of wine, merge it with breathing because the breathing brings you into more of a present moment. You could still be watching Netflix, you could still be having that glass of wine, you could still be doing that journaling. But when you add the breathing, you bring an extra layer of presence. Yeah. Breathing helps moment of stress, right when it's happening. Yes. If you can remember to breathe as it's happening, that is another way of dealing and increasing your nervous system capacity. And if you're doing at the same time, you are literally rebalancing as you're going through the stress. Yeah. If you do it after, it's okay as well, because the nervous system needs a space and a time to actually practice this, integrate this. So even if you do it later, it doesn't matter. Keep practicing the integration of these tools. Um, one of the feelings, one of the understanding that you know you are in a stress. Let's say the stress happened in the morning. Okay, really situation really got you stressed. But then in the evening, you're not in the stress situation, but in the evening, you're still not right. You're still not back to normal. Yeah. It's still a lot in your head. Perhaps you go into that moment of you just want to be alone, or perhaps you just need to really talk to someone and keep busy. Yeah. Sometimes these stress response, they phase down through the day, but they can last sometimes up to 2 days. People can have an overwhelming situation and the backlash kind of lasts around 2 days. And we don't realize that we're still on the backlash of that stressful moment. So even if you had a stressful moment in the day, at least before you go to bed, that is another point in the day that you definitely want to use one of your tools, because you can minimize those 2 days of backlash into a lot less. Okay. So breathing, meditation, shaking movement, maybe go to an exercise class that you like, journaling, the before bed, get it out of your system before bed, shift it out of your system before bed. Because the sleep, if we can sleep deep into the REM state, this is when the body recovers, the nervous system recovers. If we go to bed with the head overloaded, we don't fall into the REM deep phase of sleep. The nervous system doesn't recover, so your capacity is down here in the morning. Yeah. So going to bed and trying, not eliminating completely the stress, but definitely trying to increase that calmness capacity. So what you're doing, you are just rebalancing. You've been up here and you have a moment to sit in the sofa, you have a moment to sit in your bed, in a hammock, in your exercise class, and increase that capacity. So this is what the aim is for. It's really understanding consciously, right? I'm going through all this stress, a lot of this. I have no control over it. It just happens. It's stress. But what do I have control? How can I rebalance that? Well, I'm going to create a space that I will use my tools to increase my capacity to stay calmer. And it doesn't have to be a perfect state of calmness. You just need to practice little and often that it brings that capacity up. Yeah. I'm going to bring physiotherapy here because it fits really well. And you all understand because you all have had physical pain at some point. And I think it's easier to understand when we can relate to something physical rather than emotional or, sensations in our bodies. So think of a pain that you had, elbow, knee, ankle, back, anything. Okay. The pain is the stress. The body's feeling the stress. Yeah. And medication is your tool to is the pain. Stretching is your tool. Gentle movement is your tool. And you're going to do that medication every 4 to 6 hours to increase capacity. So the body can work with the pain. The medication can work with the pain. You're going to stretch a couple of times a day to increase capacity. So the stretch combats the pain. Does that make sense? And that's how you apply your tools very consciously through the day after a moment of stress. And the beautiful thing that happens is that the more you increase your capacity, the stress moments will get less and less. You're going to have better capacity to deal with the stress moments. But you're also going to notice right before it comes, which then allows you to have a choice. And the choice is, I choose. Before you didn't have a choice, it was automatic. You just got triggered, boom, gone, done, stress. But you're going to have a choice. The capacity is going to come up to give you a choice, and you have a choice. Do I enter that moment of stress, or do I don't enter the moment of stress? And if I decide to not enter the moment of stress, which direction do I take? Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful process. It takes time to integrate. It takes practice, and it takes you understanding how you increase your nervous system capacity. Beautiful. So, is everyone kind of okay understanding how you increase your nervous system capacity for calmness? Yeah, brilliant. Are we all ready for a little meditation? Yes. Do you understand why we don't need to go in that box now of stories, of past experiences, of even trauma? Today, we don't need to go. And this concept also can help you navigate these moments without having to go into that box. Because when you go in that box, two things can happen. If you go on your own, you could be reliving the past, and you don't want that because you can get re-traumatized. But if you do have therapy to then relive those, not relive, but revisit those points, that box, then you have guidance. And that's a completely different way of treating trauma to help you understand even the trigger moment of today. But we're not going there, okay? We're using the simple path, the simple path. That concept is, I think it's good enough for you to just do a little practice as you live your life. So if you want to do a little meditation now, I invite you to sit or lie down very comfortably, and I'll guide you. You're welcome to close your eyes if you want to. Gentle breathing in and out of your nose. It does not need to be a deep breath. It just needs to be your own breath. Focus how the breath goes in into your body. How far it reaches down inside your body. Is it the chest or the belly? And then notice how the body knows how to exhale, how to release the breath. And just stay with the breath, noticing, observing. Your breath will regulate itself. You just allow it. You don't need to force or guide the breath. And I want you to notice your shoulders. Can you drop your shoulders? Can you release anything that you're holding on your shoulders, any tension? Notice your jaw. Can you release the jaw? Separate your teeth slightly. Let the jaw drop and melt and soften. Notice your hips, where you're sitting. Let the chair or the bed take the whole weight of your body, thrusting the bed or the chair. Relaxing your body. Let it go heavy. Press your arms. Relax your fingers. Notice how your legs are supported where you are in your position. Let the sofa, the chair, or the bed hold your legs and the floor. Hold your legs completely and melt into it. Focus on the breath, how it goes in, how it comes out. The mind is racing. Let it race. Every thought that comes through, nod your head as if to say, I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you. Let the thoughts come through, let them race, let them pass. They all need a channel to just let it be heard. And then the thought starts to calm down, to ease. You get less of them. Give it space, give it time, and focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. Now bring the attention to your chest or belly, whichever is calling you to pay attention to. Breathe your breath, bring the air into that space. You might notice sensations, constriction, tightness, openness, expanding. Any sensation that you feel, you are safe to feel. You're safe to sense it through your breath in or out. And as you move the breath in, notice this expansion, this change in this sensation. Nothing lasts forever. And even if this sensation is a little bit uncomfortable, there is no fear. This sensation is just you noticing how your body feels in this now moment. Allow the sensation to navigate through your body if it needs to change, to move. And we're going to observe the sensation with our breath until the sensation starts to become smaller and less and dissipate. If your sensation brings a sense of growing in your chest or belly expansion, let it expand, let it grow. Let it be inside you. Let it be part of you. You're here with just yourself and your breath. Notice how you're settling more, relaxing more, more comfortable with the silence, with the stillness. This is you increasing nervous system capacity for calmness, for settling, for serenity. Breathe into your chest and into your belly. Let the breath relax you. Stay with yourself and your body and your chest and your tummy, but most of all with your breath. In this now moment, stillness is your friend. Stillness is your moment. And you're safe. Safe in this bubble of stillness. You might even feel the stillness around you, surrounding you. Relax your shoulders again, drop them a little bit more. Your jaw melt, let it drop. You are safe. This is your own inner power at work. consciously for a purpose. You're learning to increase nervous system capacity. You can create balance between the peak moments and the easy moments. You have a choice to be here, and you are safe. Take a nice, long and soft, deep breath in and release soft and long as well. Take another nice, soft, deep breath in. Make it nice and long, and then exhale. And let's be very gentle with ourselves, noticing with your eyes closed the room that you're in, the body position that you're in, the sensations in your body. You're coming back around really slowly to the awareness of where you are. Breathing, relaxing your shoulders. May your eyes be the last thing to open. Take your time, slowly, slowly. Notice how the body wants to move. The mind wakes up a little bit, starts to have thoughts and ideas. And it's all okay. It's all perfect. As you're coming back to the awareness of the now moment. That's all I wanted to offer today. A little reset, yes, I think so. And a little concept, easy to grasp and easy to put in practice. And show you that you're already doing all of this. But the concept helps you organize how you're doing, how you settle yourself, how you calm down, how you come away from stressful moments and come back to this normality that we are now. This is normal. Sitting here, calm, relaxed, this is normal. How can we bring that normal to every moment in our lives? Yeah, takes time, takes practice. But I hope this is something that you can take with you. So a note for the next class. Would be nice to just go over, see how you notice things for the next week, talk a little bit more, and then integrate this further for the next class so we can finalize and not make it too complicated or too long or